the deep hurt and devastation that fatherlessness brings in a child's lives. Our prisons are full of men and women who live recklessly after being abandoned by their fathers and wounded by the men who should love them the most. Many now follow the same pattern of irresponsibility their fathers did. While so many mothers have sacrificed to help their children survive, they were never intended to carry the weight alone. We thank God for them. But research is providing that a child also desperately needs a daddy. There's no way around this. As you know, earlier this year, my family endured. He goes on to talk about the loss of his daughter. And he says, but what he did not truly understand, how crucial my role was as a father to her and to my son. I asked God to show me through his word how to be a father I need to be. I now believe that God desires every father to courageously step up and do whatever it takes to be involved in the lives of their children. But more than being just there or providing for them, he has to walk with them through their lives, be a visual representation of the character of God, their Father in heaven. A father should love children and seek to win their hearts. He should protect them and discipline them and teach them about God. He should model how to walk with integrity and treat others with respect, and should call out his children to become responsible men and women who live their lives for what matters in eternity. Some men will hear this and mock it or ignore it. But I tell you that as a father, you are accountable to God for the position of influence he has given you. You cannot fall asleep at the wheel only to wake up one day and realize that your job or your hobbies have no eternal value, but the souls of your children do. Some men will hear this and agree with it, but have no resolve to live it out. Instead, they will live for themselves and waste the opportunity to leave a godly legacy for the next generation. But there are some men who, regardless of the mistakes we've made in the past, regardless of what our fathers did not do for us, will give the strength of our arms and the rest of our days to loving God with all that we are, and to teach our children to do the same, and whenever possible to love and mentor others who have no father in their lives but desperately need help and attention. We are inviting any man whose heart is willing and courageous to join us in this resolution. In my home, we've already made the decision. You do not have to ask who will guide my family, because by God's grace, I will. You do not have to ask who will teach my son to follow Christ, because I will. Who will accept the responsibility of protecting my family? I will. Who will ask God to break the chains of destructive patterns in my family's history? I will. Who will pray and bless my children to boldly pursue whatever God calls them to do? I am their father. I will. I accept this responsibility and the privileges to embrace it. I want the favor of God and his blessing on my home, as any good man does. So where are you, men of courage? Where are you, fathers who fear the Lord? It's time to rise up, answer the call that God has given you, and say, I will. Amen. If we do not break the cycle of our country, we will not only lose our country, we will lose our children's souls. I thought about coming in here and talking, beautifully about fathers in their wonderful role. And I thought we as a church need a challenge. We are not just fathers to our children. We need to step up and be fathers to a lot of others. There's a lot of kids who don't have that home.
Amen.
My oldest son, after divorce, chose to stay with me. And a lot of people were surprised that I would continue to raise him. I'm like, why? He's my son. Well, legally, we are all fathers to the children who need a father. Yeah. We are mothers to children who need a mother. If we're going to change the direction of our country, it begins with changing me.
Amen.
I cannot change the past with my sons. All I can do is to change their future. But for that to happen, I've got to be courageous enough to step up and step into the role that God called me. It is not for flattery. It's not for the accolades. It's because that is what's right to do. As a man of God, part of my cross is being a father to the fatherless. To teach young men what it is to be a man of God, how to grow up and love and respect the woman he marries enough to wait until they are married. And to the young ladies, to provide them the love and a guidance so they're not seeking it from some guy on the street who's only using that just so he can have the physical pleasure. We have got to break the cycle. Because if we don't, where will the country be 20 years from now? And more importantly, where will our children be? I pray that we answer a call. There's 3 men here and 6 women. With just twice that number, Christ changed the world.
Amen. Amen.
It's not the numbers that matters. It's the courage to be committed that will change. We can do it. The calling is already gave. The question is, will we be courageous enough to do it? Brother Jim.
Amen.